Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to learn how to make this beautiful dress with side gathers. The front has an overlap. This dress does not have any zip, so the front has an overlap and it has a puffy sleeve. So we are going to start with the cutting video. Here is the pattern paper that I'll be using, and we'll be drafting a basic gown. I'll start with the back part first of all. So this pattern is for the back part, and I have labeled my chest line, half length, hip line, and full length. So this is for the front part. I have my chest line, my bust point, half length, hip line, and full length. So first of all, I'll draft the back, then using the back we will draft the front. So I'll go ahead and keep this front pattern aside. This is our front and this is our back. I'll label the back and we will start with this first of all. The first thing that I'm going to do is to mark our dart line. From the half length, I'll come in by 4 inches. My nipple to nipple is 8, so the 8 inches on fold is 4 inches. I'll mark my 4 inches and I will extend this line up to the chest line, and then I will come down to 22 inches. The dart line will stop at 22 inches from the shoulder. If you want to use a princess dart for this gown, you can use a princess dart for it, but I want to use a normal gown for this. So from the shoulder, I will come down by 22 inches, and that is where this dart line will stop at. So I'll go ahead and mark 22 inches and I will extend the line to that 22 inches. So after that, I will go ahead and take out half an inch on each side of this dart line. Then I will extend it to 1 inch below the chest line. The dart will stop at 1 inch below the chest line. That is how you do a normal dart on a gown. Then after that, I'll take my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance, the waist divided by 4 plus 1 inch for that, and normal 1 inch for seam allowance. Then the hip line divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Then from there, I'll connect my waist to my bust, then my bust to my hip. So starting from the hip, I'll just mark a straight line down to the full length. When you get to the hip, just mark a straight line down to the full length. We are still going to do some slashing and spreading here, so I'm trying to connect to my full length, and this is for my front. For my back, sorry, I'll go ahead and cut out this back, and after that I'll also cut off the shoulder slant and the armhole of the back. So right now I will introduce the front paper, the front pattern paper. And remember, this back will be on fold. It will not have any zipper allowance. There's no zipper on this dress. So here is the front pattern. I will place the back pattern on top of my front pattern, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to measure how many inches I want to use as the overlap. You know, the front of this dress has an overlap like a blazer. It has an overlap, so I want that overlap to be 4 inches. So from the center of the front, I will go in by 4 inches. I'm trying to arrange my paper to get my 4 inches area. So from the center of the paper, I will go in by 4 inches, and that 4 inches is where the pattern paper of the back will start from. So I've gotten my 4 inches. Right now I'm going to cut out the rest of the pattern paper. I have gotten what I want. So after doing this, I am going to mark my neckline. So I'm trying to cut off my armhole, and after cutting that, I am going to measure how deep I want my neckline to be. So for the front neckline, this dress has a V neckline, so I want it to start at 7 inches. I'm going to mark my 7 inches. Then the width of the neckline remains the same. From the wideness of the neckline, I am going to connect this V to that 7 inches that I marked. So it depends on how deep you want your neckline to be. If you want your neckline to be lower than 7 or higher than 7, it is okay. After marking the neckline, I'll go ahead and cut out, and that will be what we are using for now. So this will be 2 pieces, remember, because we have an overlap. The front is open. Now I will mark my dart. I'll go in by 4 inches before marking my 4 inches for the dart line. Remember, because this dress has an overlap. So go in by 4 inches before you mark another 4 inches line for your dart. I hope you understand. Then after doing this, I am going to connect my dart, and my dart will stop at 1 inch below my bust point, 1 inch below the bust point. So this is my dart, and that is all for the front. So after doing this, I am going to place the back and the front pattern paper together before we cut out the side. Remember, we are going to add a gather around the hip area. So from the center back, I will come in by 2.5 or 2 inches. That is on fold. If you open it up, it should be 4. This is where these gathers will start from. Every measurement you are taking should start from the center back, remember, because the front is an overlap. Then from the waistline, I'll come down by 4 inches. You can come down by 2 inches or 3 inches, depending on how high you want your gathers to be or how low you want your gathers to be. So from the half length, I came down by 4 inches. I came down by 4 inches or 5 inches. It depends. Then from there, you will connect to that 2 inches you marked at the middle, at the full length. So this is how I am going to connect it. So after tracing, I will go ahead and connect. So this area that I'm going to cut out now is where we are going to replace with gathers. I hope you understand. So after marking this, I'll go ahead and cut out, and after cutting it out, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So we are done cutting out now, and if I separate, this is what we have. This is the new shape of our gown. So what I'm going to do now is that I will take one of the pattern paper. This is the curve that I have, the cutouts that I have. I'll go ahead and slash this paper as much as possible. You can just slash with 1 inch gap. And after slashing, make sure you label each piece. This is the easiest way to make that type of gather. Just slash and spread. It will help you get what you want. It is very easy and accurate. So I am approaching the hip area, and after I labeled, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We have 8 pieces here. So I don't want to slash it now. I'll slash it on my fabric. So I'll go ahead and introduce my fabric, the fabric that we use for the gathers. So here is the fabric that I'll be using for the gathers, and I'll go ahead and fold this fabric. So after folding, the folded area should be your hip area. You know, if you check that gathers very well, the hip side of the gather does not have any joining. So I am folding this fabric, and this folded part will be my hip area. My hip area will be on this folded area because I'm not going to join it separately. So the folded part should be your hip area. Then I'll start slashing this paper on top of this fabric so that I will not misplace any of them. That's why I slashed on my fabric. So after slashing this paper, I will go ahead and separate the pattern paper. I'll go ahead and spread the pattern paper. If you have enough fabric, you can spread them by 3 inches or 2 inches, but 3 inches is okay. So I am slashing the number 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to start spreading this pattern paper. I will spread with like 3 inches. 3 inches is okay. So you can see as you are spreading, feel free to cross check with your tape. Use your tape and check the distance between all of them. So after that, I am going to check the distance between all of them. Then I will add half an inch seam allowance at the top of this pattern paper, the curved area. After checking, I'll add half an inch seam allowance at the top and 1 inch seam allowance or 2 inches seam allowance at the down. But you can see the allowance that I'm marking there. I came down by like 1 inch, and I will mark. This allowance is for hemming this gather. Then at the top, I'll add half an inch seam allowance. This half an inch seam allowance is for joining the gather to the gown itself. So for now, let me leave it this way. I added 1 inch for hem. I will cut off from the allowance line, that is for folding the gather part. Then at the top, I will cut off from the half an inch. This half an inch is for joining this gathers to my main dress. So after doing that, I'll notch the center. Please notch the center. Now you can remove your paper. This is for one side of the dress. We need another one for the other side of the dress. So I'll go ahead and fold another fabric for the other side of the dress. And after folding, I'll place the first one on it and I will cut out. So after cutting out, I will go ahead and smoothen the lowest part of this curve. You can see this area. You use your scissors and curve it very well. You don't need any straight parts around that gather area. You will have to curve it very well so that when you are joining it to the curve of your gown, everything will align. So I'll place it on the second one and I will curve again. So this is the curve you should have so that it will match the curve on the gown. So at the end of the day, if I open up these pieces, this is what I will have. I have two pieces, for one for the right side and the other one for the left side. So this is the fabric that I will be using for this dress, for the main body. I'll go ahead and cut off the back. I'm managing this fabric. I do not have enough. I have like 1 yard here. So I'll cut out the back first of all. And remember, the back is on fold. Do not open the back. There is no zipper allowance. So add 1 inch for hemming and then add half an inch around that curve. Add 1 inch at the down part for hemming and add half an inch around that curve. That is the allowance that you're going to join your gathers with. So if I open the back up, this is what I have. I will keep this aside. Then I will cut the front. I'm going to cut the front one by one because I don't have enough fabric. I told you guys that I'm managing this fabric. So I'll go ahead and place the pattern paper. And as you are cutting, remember that the front will be 2 pieces because the front has an overlap. So when cutting the curved area, also add your half an inch and add 1 inch for hemming allowance at the down part. I'll go ahead and cut out the last part of this gown. That is the other side of the front. The front is going to be 2 pieces. I'm done cutting the first one. This is the second piece. So I'll go ahead and cut. And after cutting, I'll open it up so that you guys can see what I have. So after cutting this, the next thing that we are going to cut is the sleeve. The sleeve is a puffy sleeve. So I want to use the plain material for my sleeve. This is what I have for the front. So I will use bias to turn. If you have enough fabric, turn with facing. So here is for the sleeve. I will fold and I will cut out my sleeve. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll upload the sewing tutorial real soon. The video is long. That's why I separated them into 2 parts, the part 1 and the 2. So definitely I will upload the sewing tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy watching my tutorial. Do not forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be notified. Thank you all and see you all in my next video. Bye.